In truth, it's a big honor to be that, because I know that it matters to people.
Hi. I absolutely love Fae mythology, and I love that there's actually a show that portrays some of it, mostly kind of correctly. But did you guys know anything about the Fae mythology before you started, or have you learned anything about it since you've been playing your characters?
What are the Fae? What are you talking about?
I knew nothing. I was introduced to sci-fi genre in general with this show, so anything I know I've learned from the show.
I grew up reading fantasy, it was a...
Harlequin romance sort of thing?
That kind of fantasy too, but not tame. Come on. I'm not even going to say who I used to read. I'm sure a lot of you have read them now. Dirty-minded people,
All of a sudden you're Austin Powers.
Stop making me serious. I grew up with Dungeons and Dragons, and Dragonlance was my first sort of passion read when I was 13 years old. And so I didn't know of the Fae, but the whole all that mythology of different sort of supernatural stuff, and I've always been immersed in it. I was the kid who would go running through the woods when I was 17 with my bow and arrow.
You're saying this out loud.
It's okay, we're in a friendly place here. These people understand, right? I bet you, yeah, there's fantasy people out there. That's right. How many people even have swords, or axes, or, that's it? Hey, bows and arrows, or play,
I did stuff in the forest too.
Yeah, you played doctor,
I did. I went to the forest with this guy, Austin, and we took all of our clothes off and, showed each other things. I was 7 or whatever. I don't know what I was doing in the forest at 7. But anyway, the point is that's what I did, and my parents found us. And Austin, I had somehow managed to get my clothes back on, and he was behind me naked. And I thought that it would help if I just stood in front of him. My parents were standing there we can see him. I was like, what? So Austin, if you're out there, I miss you, and I'd like to see you again. I think he must live in England, because that's where I was at the time.
British man back there. Oh my God, took me on a plane. So yeah, thank you for that question.
For both of you, if there's a performer that you could invite onto the show as a guest star, who would it be, and why would you make that choice?
Gosh, there's lots of people I'd love to have guests on the show.
Well, I guess just because we're talking genre, Kate Blanchett, when she played the elf queen, Galadriel, she just brought such presence to that character. I love her as a performer, Elizabeth. She's just, in my opinion, one of the best actors in the world. And if she would grace us with her presence, I'd sign another 4-year option.
You would? I always like it when shows do kind of crossover things, where they bring not just an actor, but a character from another show. So it would be kind of great if, I don't know, Katie Sackhoff or somebody from Torchwood, Eve. What's Eve's last name? Yes, Miles. Who's Welsh, and I lived in Wales when I was very little, for a little while. And something like that, but not just her, but the character of the show. I like it when shows do that. I also want to do a musical episode. Yeah.
Woo!
Hi, I was just wondering for both of you, what would you say has been your favorite moment or scene, I guess both to watch and to act out, that occurred between Dyson and Lauren, and why?
It might have happened this season.
There's definitely some good ones this season.
Yeah.
But in ones that we can talk about, I remember the first one in season 1 where you checked me out. You had to
You came to, you were made finally by the Ash.
Have
like a physical. by Lauren.
It was such a short, tiny little scene, but Zoe and I it was just like...
The subtext was crazy because we really didn't like each other that much at that point in the show.
In the show.
So everything we said was just laced with hate, like the undercurrent of "she's mine."
But underneath it all was our real, I love you, Zoe. People commented, they're like, there was some really interesting chemistry going on in that scene. Like, what was going on there?
Yeah, people bring that up a lot, actually.
So I think that, for me, like, that was the sort of seminal moment for us. And we've had a few, like, at the bar when we, commiserate over Bo.
Yeah, I finally break up with Bo, and then we have that little scene at the bar.
Yeah.
Where I go, how am I going to get over? And you say, I'll let you know when I find out.
Yeah. Kind of bond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi. My question is for Zoe. Zoe, what is your beef against honey mustard?
Oh, it's just the worst thing ever. Honey mustard, why would anyone, and they always ask you at Tim Hortons, it's their default mustard at Tim Hortons. You have to say, no, I don't want your silly honey mustard. I want just mustard. It's honey and mustard together. It's a gong show. So, I don't like it. Thank you.
Hey guys, I was wondering, what is between season 1 and 3, what is your favorite episode and why?
Body switching is up there for sure. That
Yeah,
episode.
body switching. Our pilot was pretty damn good. That aired as 108.
Yeah, that's right. That was a good episode.
Yeah, it was John Fawcett again. Who did that.
It's always the episodes that are really like packed with layers and...
And you know what? After doing the show for so long and we've done so many different episodes, it's really hard to remember.
I have no memory of season 2. I can talk about season 1, I can talk about season 3 and 4, but time anyone mentions season 2, I'm like, what did I
It's like a black
do in season 2? It was the longest too, it was 22 episodes, I have no memory.
I know it ended with the Garuda.
Yes.
And it started...
With the Garuda.
Oh, I like the flashback episode because it's all about me. Brother Faye.
Was season 2 when Nadia...
Yeah.
Oh,
Christ.
girlfriend in a coma.
Yeah. The poor girl, she woke up, went crazy and killed... No, Bo killed her and died, yeah. That was a tough story. That scene to shoot, that one where Bo had to kill her, was one of the hardest scenes I've ever had to shoot ever. It was one of the longest scenes, like pages-wise, and one of the most emotional scenes, so shooting that and staying in it for that length of time, like, I don't know how to explain it, but like, a scene, a 2-page scene can take hours and hours and hours and hours, so it was just, it was so long and so emotional that shooting it, because you shoot it, the same scene over and over and over and over and over for hours. So that was tough to shoot that scene, I remember, and trying to keep it authentic and connected and real, and how would I feel if my girlfriend stabbed my girlfriend and God, like, what?
All that usual stuff.
You know how it is, but...
All right, whoever's, sorry. I just wanted to give an alert. Whoever's standing now, you can ask your question, but after that, we have to cut it off. I just got 5 minutes.
So I guess this is kind of just answered, but I wanted to know what was probably the most difficult scene or episode to, yeah.
You take this.
Difficult. I remember the dawning episode was rather difficult for Anne and I because we were dealing with, especially the scene in the bedroom when everything when everything hits the fan. You know, I'm realizing that this dream, this made-up world that I've engaged us in is false and it's hurting her. She's playing that she's pregnant or having a miscarriage or something. We're reacting to something that's not even there, that's going to crash down and bust in the door. I'm talking to nobody who's particularly there. There was just a lot of weird, convoluted stuff going on in that scene, but it had to be really emotionally volatile. And so, like, you have to really believe it. And, it's all right. They're just bringing us the pizza.
There's a lot of imagining that has to be done sometimes because there are things that they do in post.
Totally.
And so we're reacting to things that completely aren't there. Like where they'll put a tennis ball, literally a tennis ball, where the thing is. And we're all going, oh! Let's try that again, that didn't work.
So yeah, when you have to fake a lot of stuff, or like when you're dealing with multiple elements, you know, and but at the same time, that's the challenge of the show. And that's once you do Law School, I mean, you can pretty much do anything because it demands a lot of you. You know, we have to make this completely fictional reality very real and fill it with truth and emotion at a tennis ball.
If we're lucky, it's a tennis ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it's other things.
Your characters seem to have quite a lot of hostility. Is it something that you would like to have explored as to what may have caused it? It seems like you have started great at the beginning.
So our characters seem to have a lot of what?
Hostilities toward each other. Is it something that you would like to explore as to maybe the backstory of the characters and why they were like that even before Bo came?
Are you talking about our character specifically?
Yes.
Well, Bo is really I mean, I think Dyson and Lauren would.
Well, I think also he's talking about right in the beginning, like even before Bo came into the picture. Well, I mean, the whole thing about the way we start Law School out in like 101, the Fae the humans are food, right? And there is, Lauren was as a slave to the act, so for me, like in that scene we were talking about, for me to be asked to go and do a physical with her, like to Dyson, that's completely beneath him, and that he has to like deal with an underspecies almost, you know. But that's the beautiful thing that Bo brings to the show, and that's the epiphany and the evolution that she is creating. That, you know, she awakens a humanity within the circle that are working with her, you know, all of us, and that's why we're so different. That's why a lot of the other Fae usually have something out for us, because we're befriending the food. You know, we're the vegans of the Fae world.
This is the most beautiful thing. Yeah, but that's all very true. Yeah, and then Lauren is so aware of her position amongst the Fae, and that at any moment they could throw her out, or kill her, or she could be gone. You know, and it's only what she brings as a scientist that keeps her there, really.
Scientist, what?
Yep. That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just, did I say that right? Patch to row? No, it's patch to hoe, isn't it?
I haven't got a clue.
Any English majors? Any lit majors in here?
Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you for coming.
All right, you guys get an excellent audience.